What do you think, buddy? Should we get this stream started?
I think so.
What's up, creepers? And Giggers Chris, the Atari Creep. How's everyone doing today? I gave you the wrong screen. I gave you the wrong screen. 1 o'clock. I promised every day we would come on and do something. Whether we play any games or not is up for debate. But there's some news in the Jason Voorhees world, and I wanted to talk about it, but I said, you know what? I haven't done a Jason Voorhees tier list, I don't think. So I looked it up, and I can't find one on my channel. So if I've done it, well, let's compare the two. Show me where to get to my video so we can compare the fucking two and figure out if my thoughts are still the same or if I'm genuinely just full of shit. I don't know. How is everyone doing on this fabulous Tuesday? And, yeah, I don't really have anything else to say. Oh, I should have worn my No Lives Matter shirt. Shit. Oh, well. What are you going to do? I'm wearing my mask. I don't have straps on this yet. I still have... I have the material to do it. Remember when we made the COVID one? It was from the same guy. It was blank. I still have plenty of material in the snaps left over from that. I got the snaps on there and everything. Same with the sides and right here in the peak of my head. Right here. Right where Mommy used to pat me when I was a good boy. That's a good boy, Jason. That's a good boy. Yeah, so let me take this fucking... No, I'm going to leave it on for a little bit. I'm going to leave it on for Richie Skulls. What's going on, buddy? What's the good word, my friend? It's been a while since you popped in, huh? Must be a busy motherfucker. No. Seriously, dude, how you doing, man? I hardly ever see you around anymore because you're not really around anymore. There's not many places that you're is. I used to say that would drive my mom nuts. I can't find out where you is. And she'd be like, Christopher. All right, I'll take it off. But yeah, there's a lot of buzz in the Friday the 13th world as of late. Let me set up my screen here to start reading this. And I haven't read this article yet. I haven't read it yet. The chat's going to disappear to me. So I have it here on my alternative channel, so hopefully it's the same. What do you need to say, buddy?
100%.
Yeah, right. I know. That's what I'm fucking trying to tell him, man. Shut up. So I got my cell phone over here. I do it every stream anyway, so there's at least one person in here. I don't know if it helps with algorithms and stuff like that, but I got the second account. Why the fuck not, right? So now I'm going to have to double it as a... I put this one together really quick, even though I've been thinking about it since last night. I put this one together really quick, and I didn't prepare it properly. So if there's a small delay in the conversation, fucking that's what I'm trying to get at. For fuck's sake, god damn, Chris. All right, so this is what prompted this. And from my understanding, this is all just talk. Somebody said something, the word got in somebody's ear, and it was spewed all over the place like your mom at a college frat house. Boo-cockied everywhere. I don't know too much about it. I don't even know who this fucking Braun Strowman is. Nor do I care. But regardless, let's see what the Radcats of Blade Disgusting had to say. There's talks of him wanting to or in talks with somebody to play Jason Voorhees. Where did the friggin' chat go? There we go. So I'm assuming this article is going to talk about that. Maybe that's where it came from. I'm trying to find... there's no doubt the new Friday the 13th movie will eventually be coming along. One person that's throwing his hat into the ring. Okay, so right now it's like what I'm thinking about. We're talking about possible people. Why don't we just bring back Derek? Derek Mears did such an amazing job. In fact, might I say he is probably better than the majority. I know we all love Kane Hodder, but let's face it, there was really only one movie he looked cool in. The rest of it was poo-poos. In my opinion, oh no, that's not true. He's a 50-50 kind of guy. When we get to ranking it, I do have a tier list up, and we'll do the tier list. But this guy's talking about wanting to be Jason fucking Voorhees, right? So I said, all right, who is this dude? And let me do some research on him, because I know a lot of times I come on here and I just talk out of my asshole. So I wanted to kind of know what I'm fucking talking about here. And I see a picture like this. Let's see. What was the very first one I found? This one right here. I hope you can see that as well as, whatever. And I'm looking at him like it's not too far off. When I'm talking about Jason Voorhees and what I love, I'm thinking the first four. Primarily, and I think a lot of cats would agree with me that one of the first things that come to my mind is part 3 and 4 Jason. To a great deal of many, it's going to be Kane Hodder, So there has been a variance in different body styles, of course, throughout the years, different stuntmen here and there. Some movies had multiple, like part 2. I don't know. I just, when I think of Jason Voorhees, I think of Richard Brooker, Ted White, Kane Hodder. And then I see this guy, and I'm like, okay, so this right here is not too far off from this. This is Richard Brooker from Part 3, my favorite of all the movies. I'm not saying it's the best one. I think Part 6 is the best. But Part 3 is my favorite. It's the only mask I own currently. Absolutely love Richard Brooker's Jason. I've had a few conversations with Richard over the interwebs throughout the years. And really nice guy. Very interesting cat. There's actually a really cool kind of... It's a great little documentary made by a bunch of fans about... It was originally going to be a documentary about Friday the 13th Part 3, but it was in production or pre-production right around the time Brooker passed. So it turned into Violation Entertainment. What's up, buddy? It kind of turned into a Richard Brooker memorial more so than anything, which I think is for the best anyway. Is for the best. And you know what? The dude accomplished so much in this world. He really did. And he was great. He was great at like stories and stuff like that. And people didn't know half of what he was saying was true or not, but it wasn't like nefarious or anything. But when I heard about this guy, I said, okay, this isn't too far off from this. Richard Brooker was a little leaner this way, up and down. Yeah, I don't know. So then, just for shits and giggles, I pulled up Ted White, and this was the only image I could come up with. Now, he's a little less bulkier, and I honestly think some of the old school guys, this is what they think of when they think of Jason. Something about Ted White's stance, his presence, I think embodied everything that was going through the mind of Voorhees. So I have that kind of conundrum that this guy's my favorite. This is my favorite. This is right here. I'm just going to say it before we even get to the fucking tier list. This right here is my favorite. It's my favorite. But looking at this guy, and I'm like, okay, well, I don't know. Maybe there's something to it, And then I looked at how tall this fucking dude was. And then I saw how fucking tall he was, and I was like, oh no, that will not do. Let's go back to this. We'll talk a few numbers, and I'll look at the chat real quick. I see there's people popping in here. I don't want to be disrespectful to them. Let me move this. Violation Entertainment, thanks for popping them in. Let's see. Hey, J-Rob, what's going on, man? Hey, man, I'm sorry I haven't caught your streams lately. Nice to see you. I'm excited about Strowman as Jason. Really? See, this is what I want to hear, because I know there's going to be pockets of people who have their Jason in their mind. And I'm all for it. When I'm telling you that this is what I'm into, I'm just telling you this is my piece of the conversation. So don't think I'm sitting here trying to convince you of anything, man. Thanks for coming in. It's great to see you, too. Thank you. I found this awesome Freddy vs. Jason indoor Halloween projector with 7 slides for $17.99. That's fucking rad. That's rad. Y'all just send me some pictures of that either on Instagram or wherever. I do have a Facebook page. I don't really go on either one of them. As Atari Creep, anyway. In fact, I don't go on any of them except for to piss off people politically on my regular Facebook page. People think I'm wicked political. I just... You know, sometimes I get in the fucking mood. I'm sorry. I'm a douchebag like a lot of other people. But, so I'm thinking, okay, this fucking dude is, I found out, 6'8". 6'8", 7 feet tall. And I'm like, is that right for Jason Voorhees? Again, looking at him, I could see it happening until I saw the height. So I went and looked up some, on this thing called Papper, if you know what that reference is. I wrote it on Papper. Richard Brooker, my favorite of all time, was 6'3". Ted White, just higher at 6'4". Ken Kersinger, and I wanted to go there next on purpose because he, to me, I think was the tallest of them all. Oh, I didn't even see, well, we're not even talking about Derek Mears. I guess I can look up Derek Mears here in a second, too, but Ken Kersinger was only 6'5", and I say only. I mean, in comparatively what we're talking about here, right? And I thought he was too big. It was just too fucking big for Jason Voorhees. And on his best day, believe it or not, Kane Hodder was only 6'2", 6'3". He's not a big dude at all. Derek Mears, how tall is he? Let's find out, shall we? How tall is Derek Mears, the stuntman? He is 6'5". Now, I don't know if it's because he was just more of a lean, specimen, that he didn't seem all that menacingly big. But in his context, they said, what is he? What is he? And they decided he was just a dude who lived off the land. So he would be fit, So that made sense to me. And I thought Derek Mears did a really great job, and I would love for him to come back. But when I look, okay, so let's go down slashes in general, right? Starting with, say, Leatherface. He was a big guy, but he was kind of like that big baby Huey kind of guy, I don't want to say it. Please, no one cut this out. I don't say this in disrespect, but back in the day, there was this awful phrase called retard rage. Okay? I know everyone knows what it means. I mean no disrespect at all. But that's the only way I can describe Leatherface. He was a big, imposing, child mind-like individual that is a threat. He's a big dude, I could see that. And he didn't get too much bigger over the years. He just stayed right around that nice, medium rare size. And then you move over to something like Michael Myers, who was never really all that big to begin with. He was just an average, probably 6 foot, whatever. I don't know how tall, what's his name? Nick Castle. I can't remember how tall Nick Castle, well... How tall is Nick Castle when he played Michael Myers in 1978? I don't know it. He was 5'10". He was an inch taller than me. He was not a very tall person. In fact, I think the guy they played to rip the mask off in the original Halloween was taller than him. But we won't get into that. And, they did pick stuntmen, and they bulked them up slowly over time, but they never gave them brawn. They never really gave him too much fucking brawn. Freddy Krueger is an interesting one because he never really got big. He only got big once. And it was for one line. Super Freddy! It wasn't even, it was more of a goof than it was anything else. But thank God, they didn't really try to bulk him up, even with the remake. Which is a movie I can genuinely say I just do not like for anything. I think Jackie did all right. I mean, what can you do in that situation besides just try to do your own thing and try to be as menacing as possible? But it is revealed back shortly thereafter, I should say, that he didn't give a fuck about the role at all. In fact, he thought the fucking story was stupid. If I'm wrong with that, well, someone go tell Mike and Jay over at fucking Red Letter Media, because that was a pretty interesting... I believe it was Jay saying he was going to be an extra on it, or something like that. Or maybe it was a friend of his. And in that case, then it's 50-50 if I believe the story, but he was just like, I don't know, fucking, I've never seen this. I don't give a fuck about any of this. You know? But Jason Voorhees, he never really started off as really... I mean, he started off as a baby, as a kid, I should say. But he was a hulking guy, but he wasn't like, he was just more of a... I guess Leatherface light. He was just like a smaller, kind of a feeble-minded, oversized kid, you know, that didn't know better. And they just keep trying to make this fucking dude bigger and bigger. And I think what a lot of people had a problem with the Jason Universe look was the size. They're like, oh my god, he just looks like a regular guy. That's all fucking he was. That's all Jason was this fucking regular guy. It technically wasn't anything if you just go by the first fucking movie, but... Oh well. Oh well. So now I'm thinking to myself, so they want to take this cat and they want to fucking make him this gigantic thing. And I know it's all talks right now. And at the end of the day, whoever they pick, guess who's going to be there in the fucking front row watching this shit? This fucking guy. I'm going to fucking be there. Maybe not the front row, because I'm not a big fan of that seat at the movie fucking theater. Going back to using my cell phone for the chat, so if there's a delay, guys, I apologize. If there's a delay, I apologize. If you guys see any kind of things, I didn't set this up properly. What, dude? You know, I'm going to shut him off for now. I didn't mean for him to go off that time. I put him in the wrong place. All right. You stay right there. So, I went into the tier, fucking whatever, this tiermaker.org.net. Whatever. And they had a Jason Voorhees one. And I'm noticing, actually, now they don't have any versions of the Part 5 Jasons, the flashback Dream Jason or the Roy Jason. And we will, I guess, fuck, I wish I'd seen that before we started streaming. Because I was looking at it while we were chatting here a minute ago, and I'm like, making sure everything was in order, and it's not. It's not. I got to put him over here. All right. But regardless, I will talk about them when we get there. This tier doesn't have an F, so I guess I'll just not rank it if it's a fail to me. Let me see what's going on in here. J. Rob says, I'm kind of a wrestling, but for modern day Jason, I think he'd be cool. Yeah, no, dude, he totally looks like he has it. I just, the fucking the height of him in there. I guess going back to what I said about Derek Mears, if they put him in the right scenario, if they just said, all right, this is where we're going to do our thing now, you know? Not a continuation, not a rehash, not any of this. Just fuck it. Let's just tell the story of the Jason Voorhees character. Then they can do whatever they want with them. They can fucking put them in pigtails. They can actually reproduce. I think of a little girl in a dress putting a hot dog through a donut hole. Please tell me at least one of you get that. If you're watching this stream and you don't get that joke, give me a call for $5 an hour. I'll give you all the knowledge you need on Friday the 13th. And I can totally see wrestling fans going nuts over this. So I'm going to watch it anyway, and I bet you it'll be brutal as fuck, and I'll be happy. But I just don't understand why they keep trying to make certain characters just giants. They're not really, it's not the deal, man. This ain't Masters of the Universe. It's Friday the fucking 13th. Violation says, good day, everyone. Hey, if I missed you, man, take care. I'm assuming you're saying goodbye. Hello to everyone that has entered the chat. Hope the day is rad. Rad. Maggots, aesthetic, and more love. Oh, there's a heart blocking it. Maggots for aesthetic and more. Yes, I got a soft spot for Maggoty Jason. I got a fun story to tell you. Is it going to be a fun story?
I have absolutely no doubt.
Yeah, I know, because I'm telling the fucking story. That's why. Jason Voorhees almost paid my fucking phone bill. Why did I say it like that? I don't know. back in 2004, I was part of this organization called HorrorSeek.com or HorrorFind.com. Same place. And they allowed me to host my websites through there. I mean, they had a free one that you could use too, but you only had limited space. You could only upload so many pictures per, site and all that crap. And I had a couple of forums that I ran, and I had a couple of Friday the 13th fan sites that I ran. Nothing too crazy, nothing that obviously took off or anything, but it was just one of those times where I was more into the prop trade, custom prop trades. Like I would make a mask, and this guy would make me a Freddy glove, and this guy, whatever. It was one of those fucking things. And Horrified set up a convention in Scottsdale, Arizona, for the weekend of Halloween 2004. And the dude who ran it messaged me, and he's like, Chris, do you have anybody? I mean, we got this. He had a really great. If this thing was advertised, it probably would have been one of the better ones out there. The people that were at this fucking convention, and nobody showed up. But I was actually at the time talking to C.J. Graham, who played Jason in Part 6. We were talking to him and just having fun, and he's telling stories and all this stuff. This is before, all the, whatever. You were able to just have conversations with some of these cats online. And I asked him, I said, hey, would you be able to come to Arizona for this? I can get you booked. And he's like, yeah, that sounds fun. So I got a hold of, I believe his name was Mark, with Horrifying, HorrorSeek. This is, again, 2004. My brain, I can't remember last fucking week. And I got them in touch with each other, so I got C.J. Graham booked for the fucking thing. And I guess when he got into town the day before the convention started, he went to give me a phone call, right? Dude went to give me a phone call to be like, hey, let's go have something to eat. Let's have supper. Let's hang out. Let's do whatever. And he got a deadline. I lived out in this area in Arizona called Rainbow Valley, Buckeye, Arizona. And when I say it was acres of desert between homes, I mean it. There were acres and acres. It was in the middle of fucking nowhere. And whenever we would have like a monsoon or any kind of windstorm, it wasn't monsoon season, but any kind of like real serious wind, our phone lines would go down. Sometimes our power would too for a couple of days. It was kind of obnoxious living way out there, but on the other hand, fucking awesome, right? There was nobody out there. And the great thing is the sheriff's department never came out there, nor did any local PD. If anything happened, it took a while for them to show up, so it was the Wild West, and it was fucking wonderful. It was wonderful. But long story short, he went to call me to see if I wanted to have supper. This is before everyone had fucking cell phones. And so I get to the convention on Halloween 2004. It was me, my then wife, and one of my daughters, my older daughter. And I bumped into him. We hung out for a little bit. He signed a whole bunch of stuff and gave us, thanks for helping me out and all this. I didn't have to pay for nothing. And he's like, hey. And he pulls me aside. He's like, do you need any help, buddy? I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, I went to give you a call yesterday when I got into town, and it said that your phones were down. And I'm like, oh, no. I said, I live in East Bumfuck nowhere, and any animal farts and all the lines go down. And he's like looking at me like, you don't have to be embarrassed, buddy. And I'm like, I don't think he was calling me buddy, but you don't have to be embarrassed. And I'm like, no, I swear to you on everything that's holy. I swear on my mom that it's just how it is out there. But I wicked appreciate it. So there you go. There's my Jason Voorhees almost paid my cell phone, my home phone bill. All right, what do we got going on here? I got a soft spot for Maggoty Jason. Yep. Maggots for aesthetic more than lore. Yep. Jason clean it half. Yeah, right? All right, let's rank them. Ari Lehman was at that convention. Let's see. There was Ari Lehman. There was C.J. Graham. And I think that's pretty much it for the Friday the 13th camp. Because I don't remember going completely nuts. There was a ton of cats from fucking Dawn and Day of the Dead. Pilato was there. That dude is funny as fuck. Every few minutes, you just grab the microphones, just say some off the wall hinge shit. Bub was there. Bub was there. Howard Sherman was there. Everyone says E.T.'s mom. I know it's not E.T.'s mom, but we're gonna call her that, okay? She was there. The dude from The Hills Have Eyes, with the distorted cranium. I can't remember his name. He was also in Weird Science. All those. He was there. The chick from May was there. There was Reggie from Phantasm was there, and he brought a couple of guitars, and there was a piano. So Ari Lehman would be playing the piano. Reggie had a guitar. I had a guitar. I got to fucking jam with some of my horror icons because nobody showed up to this fucking thing. Nobody. And then I find out years later I actually met Mike from Red fucking Letter Media because Tim Sullivan was there. I will get to the rank. I'm sorry. Tim Sullivan was also there, and he had the Necronomicon from Dead by Dawn. He had the Necronomicon from Dead by Dawn there. And he thought someone stole one of the fucking pages. And I remember some fucking goofy guy came up to me and was like, oh, well, why can't anyone leave? What's going on? And he did. He had a camera and everything. And I told him, I said, someone stole a fucking piece of the Necronomicon. So he actually saved the day. He pulled up his camera and showed all the different pictures because he was just there. And then Tim's like, oh, wait a minute. And he lifted something up, and it was fucking there the whole time. Cops shut that place down for a long time. So that was, even though the convention itself was a huge fail, it was such a great time for everyone. Ari Lehman, I don't really have an opinion either way. I think he's a goofy guy. He's a great musician. I love that he's going with it. I'm putting him in S tier because it was the original. Not because he's the original Jason, but he's the original, in my world, jump scare. I mean, this still works. This still works to this day for people who have never seen the movie. I experienced it myself about 2, 3, 4 weeks ago with one of the kids. I experienced it with my woman. I watch a lot of reaction videos to certain movies that I love that I know, do, and this is one of them. And that jump scare at the end. Now, whether it has anything to do with him or not, I don't know. I'm going to put him there just because, that's an iconic image, and he's just jumping out of the lake. Tom Savini put the fucker together. He wasn't there. I'm pretty sure he wasn't at that convention. So I'm just going to put him there just because. Just because. This one's tough because there were two guys playing this. There was a guy named Warrington Gillette, and then there was this other dude from fucking New York, and I can never remember his name. I've met him. I've never met Warrington. And the other dude, he went years not knowing people, He didn't get any credit. Warrington's just going to convention saying, I did this, I did that. When this is the dude that got the machete in the hand and had to go to the hospital, all kinds of crap. But it is what it is. But Sackhead Jason, I'm going to put it in A tier, regardless of who was playing it. I think that's the creepiest looking Jason of them all. I think it's the creepiest looking Jason of them all. I just absolutely love this look. In fact, if I were to ever do a Jason cosplay, aside from maybe doing a full part 3 again with my super accurate mask that I made, I would go at Sackhead Jason. I'm actually thinking about it. I have material to make the hood. It's not that expensive. And I thought I had a pair of overalls, but I don't. I gave them away, I guess, because of my belly. But I could totally pull this off because, again, he wasn't 6'8". I don't know how tall Warrington Gillette was. He couldn't have been 6 foot at best. At best. What's going on, Bento? Thanks for coming in, man. Just looked him up. Forgot his name as well. Michael Berryman was the dude from The Hills Have Eyes. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Michael Berryman. He was a wicked nice guy, too. And you know what? This is weird because I was in a weird place in my life. You guys all know I'm a ginormous E.T. fan. Like, this is one of those things that still make me get soft. Right? If I'm about to fucking take out an entire building of people, just bring E.T. and I promise you, everyone's lives will be spared. That was for comedic value. That was not a warning sign of any kind, folks. But the mom was there, and I did. You would have thought I would have just stayed there and gushed the whole time, but no. Oh, you know who else was there? It was really cool. We'll get to the next one. Sid Haig and Bill Moseley were there, and they were still promoting before it came out The Devil's Rejects. And I was an enormous fan of House of a Thousand Corpses. And Sid Haig had a forum. Back then when everyone just had forums, right? Remember they all had the little message boards. And one of the girls that were helping him, like he had like a little entourage, was like, "Oh, you're so-and-so on there?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Dude, we're all going to the Applebee's or whatever." Again, having supper with a horror guy. It was Halloween night, so I didn't go. I wanted to take my daughter. So I'm going to put him in here only because that sackhead Jason was super scary. It really is. I think it's the scariest looking Jason out of all of them. Is it the coolest? No, but it's the fucking scariest. And I'll be honest with you. If some fuck came up to me with a hockey mask, and then some fuck came up to me in one of these, I'm going to be afraid of the dude with the fucking sack on his head because he's probably got a banjo ready to play while telling me to squeal like a pig. Then he's going to hit me with his real pickaxe. So, I don't know. Richard Brooker. Richard fucking Brooker. The first one I ever got to see in the theater, it was in 3D. It was a horror film. It was everything. It was everything I ever wanted and could ever want at 7 years old. Times have changed, people. Richard Brooker. Nice guy. Amazing inventor. Incredible athlete. Pretty cool actor. And an amazing Jason fucking Voorhees. Fuck you if you don't like that. He's going into S tier. Richard Brooker, when I think of Jason, that's what I think of. Everything I've done. Do I still have my... Hold on, where is it? It's right here. It's right here. Let me change my perspective so you can see what I'm talking about. Let me go into... Where's just a chat? This is a part 3 Jason I made years ago out of a G.I. Joe. There's actually a video here about it. I even sculpted all the little bumps in his head and gave him the little thing and... So yeah, Richard Brooker, man, he is S tier for sure. He was human. He was still fucking human. I mean, even if you go back to the other one, right? Even if you go back to the other one, he got kicked in the butts, in the balls. He got kicked in the fucking balls, and it's like, again, Jason isn't that mythical monster. I know once he gets hit by electricity, everything is a different story, but yeah, I don't know. I think this next one's going to piss off a lot of people. It's going to piss off a lot of people, and I'm going to say you're probably fucking right. You're probably fucking right. But I'm going to put Ted White in A tier. I'm going to put him in A tier because he's not my favorite. Richard Brooker is my favorite Jason. And again, this being my opinion, so you're more than welcome to share yours down below if you're not being a douchebag about it. You're trying to tell anyone they're dumb for their opinion, I'm cutting you out. You're gone. Have a nice day. I think he is the most menacing Jason. I think out of all... I know I just said that the sack was the scariest look for Jason, but body language, movement, all of that. I think he is the scariest of them all. You could just see everything in his body that was like his anger, his rage, his wonderment of everything around him. I mean, there was even a scene where he was going to reach up and try to touch her boob. There's the sister's boob. And they cut that out because they thought it would just be too vulgar. But something like that could actually have worked if they had done it properly, If they had done it with the wonderment of a child, because that's pretty much what we're talking about. An oversized child. Running around just making a mess of people everywhere. But like when Corey Feldman comes down, he's like, "Jason!" And he turns around and he just kind of I think he did the greatest job of playing Jason. Again, Part 4 being one of the better of the movies, Ted White being one of the better of the characters. I still think Richard Brooke is my favorite, though. And I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because first one I saw in the theater. Maybe it's the first one that donned, because it's the first one that donned the mask. I don't know. But I know that's going to upset a lot of people, but I totally get it, and you're right. I can't respect your opinion any fucking more. So now we get to Part 5. I actually do like the look of Roy Jason, just because it had its time period. I actually had there was a poster of him standing in the doorway of the barn with the rain in the background. It was a picture taken from the inside looking out, and he was standing there. It's a famous image. I got it in a Fangoria had the 2-sheet posters that you could pop out and put on your wall. I had that on my wall next to Freddy for the longest time. As far as the look of flashback Jason, I think it looks more akin to Ted White. The dude who played him in that had the same kind of Ted White structure. He also played Michael Myers at one point, too, I believe. And he was an alien on... I believe he's a prolific stuntman actor wearing makeup and costume all the time. Kind of a nerdy guy with the teeth and he reminds me of that, but I think he did a great job as like flashback. I'm pretty sure he's the one who played Jason, except for when it had to be Roy. I would put him in B tier. As far as the flashback and Roy, they would both be in B tier. I'm not a big fan of Part 5 as a movie, but the reason I like Friday the 13th as a franchise more so than any other ones, there's not a single Friday the 13th I can't find fun. There's a lot of Nightmares on Elm Street. It's just too dumb for me. I don't know why. Same with Texas Chainsaw, especially the same with Halloween. I despise a lot of Halloween sequels. But again, I know a lot of people love them, and I respect that opinion. Because I totally see it. I'm a fan who loves Jason X, okay? It's in my top 4 Jason films. So, take my feelings with a grain of fucking salt. As we move on to C.J. Graham, he is going to go in A tier. Not because he wanted to pay my phone bill. Not because I got to hang out with him. Not because he signed a whole bunch of stuff and was really rad with my daughter. Tim Sullivan also drew a little thing for my daughter. A unicorn. The guy who made the Necronomicon. That was a really great time. I'm so glad nobody showed up. I'm sorry everyone didn't get money, but I got to have so many wonderful experiences with all these people I watched on the big screen and on HBO all these years. Maybe we should just do nothing but a live stream talking about that convention. It's so prevalent in my life, and probably the only one I think I've ever gone to. And thank God, because there was nobody fucking there. But C.J. Graham had a really rad look, He was like a tank. He was like the T-800 version of Jason fucking Voorhees. And when he walked through a solid structure, you believed it. You believed it. And then listening to the accounts on the set, because he is a trained military personnel type individual. I mean, it's my understanding he was in the Marines. He was in the Marines, but he was running casinos and shit at the time, at least when I was talking to him. I think he was at the time, too, when they hired him. I mean, I know the story of him getting hired and all that, and you can go to the DVDs for that, but it's just everything about him. It was a whole different ball game once Jason came from the grave, and I don't know. He was both scary, iconic, and I think it was because the actor who played it took it with respect, not just for the character. Ted White didn't take it with respect, but he took it as a serious job, Richard Brooker just did what he was fucking told. But C.J. Graham, he was ex-military, so they would say something, he'd be like, yes, sir. And he would do it. He would do it to a T, But he knew he needed to project something, and he figured it out. There was another person who played Jason in Part 6, and the only scene I think that survived from it was the paintball scene. You can see the guy has fucking man boobs. That's a look for Jason, and I would never be opposed to that. In fact, if it had continued like that, okay. But no, C.J. Graham absolutely did a fantastic job. It never went to his fucking head. Never went to his head like some people. Not the Brooklyn guy, but the fucking Warrington Gillette fucking guy. Sometimes Ari Lemon. Sometimes Ari Lehman. Lehman. However you want to say it. But yeah, no, C.J. Graham fucking knocked it right out the park. Next, we have one actor playing technically 5 characters, okay? We're not doing the actor anymore. We just have to go by, why the fuck does this thing keep jumping up on me? All right, this is annoying. Shut up. Shut up! Sorry.
I would say maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe that gag's over. That's what it is. So we're going to individually, I'm going to do it by the aesthetic and I guess the character. I mean, the movies themselves, it's neither here nor there with it. So we come here to Mr. Hodder's very first portrayal of Jason. And Jason, the New Blood, Friday the 13th, Part 7, the New Blood. I was actually going to do the intro from that before the stream today. The whole, there's a legend around here, killer buried but not dead, that whole thing, which has Crazy Ralph. Just refreshing the whole story, fucking 7 movies in. 7 movies in. And I think this one, though, it got chopped up as much as it did. It's like the party one. It's the Frat House Jason movie. It is so fun. Kane Hodder jumped into this position and stole it. He fucking took it and he made it his own. And I could totally see the mind of all these other Jasons in his body language. Now, I still want some of that kind of feeble-minded hillbilly in my Jason. In fact, that's how it fucking should be. But just the look, the anger, the fucking fury coming from him, just that deep breath he does. Yeah, we're putting him in S tier. Oh my God. Part 7, Jason. Part 7, Jason. Why is this one next? Why? Why are you like that? I did this, so. I didn't add or subtract. I just moved them around to make it proper. All right, so the only reason this Kane Hodder Jason is going to get C tier is because I like the mask very, very much. As far as Jason, I think the entire look is crap. I think the movie is absolute crap, though wicked fun. Let's face it, all these are garbage for movies. They're just garbage, except for Part 6. Part 6 is a legit movie. I don't know, there's just a cheesy kind of TV, made-for-TV quality. It's like the horror version of a soap opera. There was like that weird, fuzzy, hazy, and that's all I can describe it as, time period of TV. It just drove me nuts. The music sounds cheesy. Aside from some of the kills, there really is no redemption of this movie. Kane Hodder, if it wasn't for him and that really cool mask, I probably would have put this like in a fail. I probably would have put this in fail tier. Which brings me up to my next character, Jason Voorhees from Jason Goes to Hell. I'm not even going to rank it because I wish there was an F tier. I fucking hate Jason Goes to Hell, Jason. I hate the look of it. I hate the costume. I hate the mask. I hate the makeup. I fucking hate the body language. I don't know what was going on here. I don't know if Kane was pissed off that he didn't actually get to be Jason throughout most of the fucking movie. But it feels to me like it was maybe not so much phoning it in. Maybe it was Marcus, the guy who directed the fucking movie. Just not knowing how to shoot something like that. But there was just something in Kane's performance that was caca. It was absolute caca again, to me. You can think this is the greatest Jason of all time, and I will agree with you. Because that's how you fucking feel. But since there's not even a fucking F tier in here, I'm not even gonna dignify this cocksucker with putting him anywhere up here. Jason Goes to Hell is one of the Friday the 13th movies that I can genuinely say has the least amount of things I can find fun in. If I shut my mind off to the fact that it's a Friday the 13th sequel of sort, then yeah, I can enjoy it for what it is, but not in the same way that I can Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, or even Friday the 13th Part 5, you know? I just don't think it has many redeeming qualities except for some of the uncut kills. The tent scene, the wow, you know? That was a kill. That was a fucking crazy kill. But that Jason Voorhees, that's what we're ranking. I think it's poopy, and I don't want it to ever fucking exist ever again. Here we go. Jason X. I fucking love this movie. Do I think it's a good movie? No. Except for they knew what they were making, and they allowed it to be made for what it was. They took it serious when they had to. They had fun with it when they had to. Is it an original idea? No. Is the script anything special? No. Special effects are great. Some of the kills are cool. There is nothing new here. There is nothing that we haven't seen in any other sci-fi, horror, alien, you know, whatever kind of movie. But I'll be alright. Fuck this fucking thing. Every time I go to... What's happening is I have to use this for the chat. And an ad pops up, so I got to get it off there so I can see that. Someone said, Dad bod, James? Yeah, dude. Jason is a dad bod kind of cat. All right, let me set this up over here because my hands is evidently going to go over there. Are you going to behave on this side, sir? President Predicto?
100%.
All right, thank you. Sit down, shut up, and just wait till I call you, okay? I love it when the man talks. Believe me, I get a lot of enjoyment from it. I'm not going to tell you in which aspect. But what I can do is I do appreciate when he shuts the fuck up, too. Jason Voorhees from Jason X. The regular one, I think it's a cool look. We had the mask. There's a guy named Big Hush who does stylized Jason masks, if you haven't followed him yet. He's been around for a while. But he did a legit Jason X one. He didn't just repaint one that had a random shape. It was actually sculpted to look like this Jason mask. And he painted it, and I didn't even know it was a giveaway. It was just he picked one of the comments. And that was back when you can instant message or email, whatever it is, through YouTube. And I wish they would bring that fucking feature back. But he messaged me while I was in Connecticut doing some training for Frito-Lay. And he was like, yeah, you won the mask. And I had it for years, and I had this guy who just kept bugging me and bugging me and bugging me and bugging me and bugging me. And then one day he's just like, you know what? And he gave me an offer I just couldn't refuse. And I was just like, you know what? Yeah, here. It's a Jason mask. I can get another one. I can just order from Big Hush again, you know? Good dude. He's still at it. But as far as this Jason, I think he's right there, right in the middle. It's still Kane Hodder being cool. This is where we start Jacket Jason, though. And I have a love-hate relationship with what I call Jacket Jason. Not the biggest fan of it. But in some, like you'll see when we get to Derek Mears, I like it there because it makes sense in the scenario, you know? But, I mean, I don't know. Who's going to get Jason a fucking jacket? You know, he's an unstoppable killing machine. At this point, he's a fucking zombie. I don't think he's worried about he's not worried about catching a fucking cold. I believe me. But right here, just, you know, the size, he is getting a little bit bigger now. And he's right where he needs to be, right there in the middle. He's a good Jason. It's got probably the best traits of all of Kane Hodder's stuff. Right there in the middle, right? Right there in the middle. You get all the goods that I think and all the bads I think. And you can reverse that for your own taste or, you know, whatever. But I think it was a good Jason. I think they gave him some pretty cool kills. The face smash, of course. Everyone talks about that. I think it's pretty cool. Uber Jason, however, fuck your feelings. I'm putting it right there. And if it wasn't silly, I would put it in S tier just for the idea of it. This is a film that knows what it's doing, okay? Don't go into a movie called Jason X, which should be called Jason in Space, thinking you're going to get a quality product. You're not going to this movie to see a quality film. You're going to see a fun roller coaster style little fantasy escape. You're not going to see fucking Citizen Kane. When I started seeing the reviews of this movie, people, I just couldn't believe it. I could not believe how serious people were taking this movie. The Canadians who made it weren't taking it serious. Nobody was taking this serious. It was fun. It was just saying, you know what? We need to get this Freddy versus Jason thing going. We need to show that there's still an audience. Let's just have fun with it. They were going to put him in the snow. They were going to put him in here. They were going to do this. And then someone just said, you know what? Everybody goes to fucking space. Let's just put him up in the fucking sky. All right? Let's put him up in the fucking sky, and then you can kill me in the movie, the guy who wrote it. Todd something or other. I can't remember his name. Bald dude. Gets his face smashed against a thing in the holodeck. In the holodeck. But I honestly love Uber Jason. I don't have an Uber Jason mask. I would love to get my hands on one, but eventually I'll get a raw print or something, or a vacuum form blank, and I'll paint it myself. But I fucking absolutely love Uber Jason. And if you don't, then I mean, I guess that's cool, but you're wrong. You're wrong. I won't say you're wrong about any of these other ones. But if you don't love him, at least, if you don't want to just give him a big fucking hug, then I don't know what to say for you. You really don't. You have no life. No life. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. Just by me saying that means I have no life. That's the joke. All right. Stop typing. I'm ahead of you on that one. Ken Kersinger as Freddy versus Jason. This is a tough one to rank because it was probably my most favorite time of Friday the 13th because I was actually involved one way or another, not with the movie exclusively. But because of that time period and being in the horror prop community, I know the guy who sent in the mask that they used. The guy resculpted a little bit of it, but it was a website called Horror Hockey Masks, and he made these giant, thick fiberglass masks. And they were a nightmare to have on your face all day, but they were legit looking. The sculpts were a little bit off, and I do have a picture of myself as Freddy versus Jason. I'm with the burlap jacket and everything. Cool look, really cool look. There's multiple layers. There's the charcoal shirt, and then the black, or the blue shirt, the black charcoal worn out sweatshirt with the flap, and then you have the jacket, and then you have it was a really fun costume to put together, but god damn, when I was in Arizona, even October, it was way too warm for something like that. I ended up selling it for almost $500, the whole setup. I wish I'd kept the mask, because it was originally his very first Part 3 mask. I got pull number 2. He kept pull number 1. But then I made it into I had a big contest on my website. I had 3 people put in prizes for it. You know, go to Freddy vs. Jason dressed up, and we'll all vote on the best picture. And this guy got on top of the movie theater in his Part 7 costume. And he won the grand prize, which was what was the grand prize? 2 of them were donated, and I submitted another one. One of them was a custom figure. I submitted the soundtrack for 3rd place. Yeah, I can't remember. But there was a couple of really rad prizes. And it was a great time. I'm going to put this Jason in C tier. And the only reason I'm doing it is because I'm pissed that it wasn't Kane Hodder. No one cared about the matchup. They just wanted to see Robert Englund and Kane Hodder fucking duking it out. No one gave a fuck about anything else besides that. But then they got a director that didn't give a fuck about the project. And a bunch of people who said they gave a shit, but obviously didn't if they hired Ronnie Yu. Did he do a bad job? No. He made a comic book fun movie. I think it leaned a little more Nightmare, but if you look at the script, it was a Nightmare on Elm Street movie that introduced Jason Voorhees into it. And since we were at New Line, the house that Freddy built, that made sense. But the decisions they made with Jason in this one, which is absolute trash. Is it still a fun movie? Can I have a lot of fun watching it? Yes. Yes, I can. Watching a dude get folded in half in a bed, and then his girlfriend coming out covered in blood screaming at the cop, "What the fuck do you think?" When they ask, "Do you need assistance?" It's a fun movie. I don't take it serious as either a Friday the 13th or a Freddy vs. Jason. But as far as the look, it's a great look. Not my favorite. Not my favorite. I'm not a fan of the mask. I absolutely hate how big Ken is as Jason. He didn't do a bad job. I mean, none of these people did truly bad jobs. So don't think I'm saying anything like that. But yeah, it just never really did anything for me. And whenever I see the images of him, except for him on the edge of the bed with the teddy bear in his hand, that's in the Crystal Lake Memories book that I have over here. It's a big coffee table book. I don't know. I think what it is because everything latched onto this look of Jason. And from there on out, Jason has a jacket now. And it all comes back down to Freddy versus Jason. Yeah, I don't know. There's just something about it that just seems way too commercial. Way too commercial, way too... I don't want to say popular, because I'm not that... Oh, I liked it before everyone else did. Although, there's a lot of things I did. But, yeah, I don't know. He didn't do a bad job. He was thrown into a position that, you're not going to win. You're not going to win. He was eventually accepted into the community, so to speak. I mean, he is an alumni. Kane Hodder threw him against the mirror in Friday the 13th, the Jason Takes Manhattan. So, if you didn't know that little bit of trivia, I know most of the people watching this that don't subscribe to me will know that. But if you don't, the guy who played Jason in Freddy vs. Jason was a cook at a diner in New York City in Friday the 13th, Part 8. And Jason Kane Hodder picks him up and throws him against the fucking, So he is alumni. And he did know Kane and all that. I'm sure there was some discussion there, good luck or whatever. But, yeah, I like it, but I don't. I keep it separate, if that makes any sense at all. And here we go. Where are we going to put Derek Mears, whom I think should come back to do it now? If they're going to make another movie, where should I put him? I'm actually torn between A and B. I'm not going to lie. I'm torn between these two here. Yeah, you know what? Let's put him in B. Let's put him in B, though. I do believe he deserves A. But I want to, given all the... Yeah, I don't know. Let's just leave it there. And just know I could put him in A or B. I guess it would be on mood. I don't know. It's my understanding that the remake of Friday the 13th, across the board, for the most part, is liked. No one thinks it's anything special. It's just another great entry. And fortunately for Friday the 13th fans, that's easier to do than, say, A Nightmare on Elm Street, where Robert Englund has pretty much been the character, Jason, you could put anyone in it, as long as, the context works for it, like it did with Derek Mears. I mean, they thought about his origins and everything a lot more than I think they probably should have. But they really went into it. And I though it is absolutely a remake of its time and from the people who made it, I think it is a pretty damn good Friday the 13th movie. I hate the beginning part with the kids looking for the pot and that group. And I understand it was meant to set up the actual story once it... And some people like that. Not me. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I still watch it a little bit. Like if I watch this one, I put it on and I do a few things until the second group of kids start showing up and doing their thing. That's when I honestly feel the movie starts. But they were doing it. I mean, even the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, they did that whole extended intro kind of fucking thing before the title would come up, So I think it was just more of an artistic kind of thing that they were playing around with. The kills were great. But I think it encapsulated everything Friday the 13th. I think Derek Mears did an amazing job because not only did he feel like he could identify with Jason on some aspects, and we won't go into that. That's for you to discover. But he respected the character, you know, and he had dreamt about doing it. And when you see the behind the scenes and him talking about, like, this one in particular where he's telling the camera, he's like, I get to do, Jason does that. And he says, I get so fucking pumped. That's what I want, you know. Get whatever director you want, get whatever, all this. If you have a good effects crew and you have a person that's in the costume that really, really, really fucking wants to be there, out of respect for the character, I that's why I could go back and forth with them on this one. I think Derek Mears was an amazing Jason Voorhees. I would like to meet him someday, but I don't go to conventions and stuff. I can't do the... I've been doing crowds lately. I went to a fucking hockey game yesterday. I went to go see the Bruins play Philly. And I did all right. I did all right, but I've been doing a lot of, like, more crowd-like things lately to try to, you know, get better at it. I don't know. I wish I could be a fucking human being again. I don't know where it went. But either way, that is my ranking of the Jason Voorhees as of yet. I suppose if I were to put... Fuck, that's right. We have kind of a new one from the Angry Orchard. What was that? Sweet Revenge? I'd put him in B tier. He did fine. It was brutal. Angry Orchard would go in B tier. And if he goes in B, then he's going to go in A. If I keep him in B, then Angry Orchard will go to C. You understand what's going on here. That's my ranking of the actual characters of Jason. I'm trying to think of any other film iterations that I may have missed. And if you came in late, I did do the part 5s. I did them verbally. I forget where I put them. I don't want to say it again in case it's like slightly off. But whoever made this tier, I didn't know until last minute that they forgot to put Roy and Flashback Jason up in this bitch. But I believe they were both in B tier. I'm pretty sure they were both in B tier. I liked both looks. I think the guy who did Jason as basically the I guess not the Roy character. Whenever he was in costume, I think he had it. It was a little tall, but he had it. So let's swap this back over so I can see the chat, and you can see me, and we can see the stuffs, and I can put this down. And I can put that down. All right, now I can see everything I need to see. Let me read what I need to read. So that is my list of Voorheesians and what I think. And as far as that wrestler, as far as Braun Strowman, I can't say I'm entirely excited if he were to land the role. I say stick with what you got. Stick with the kid that you got now. Fuck it. Make it coherent, right? It's already going to be part of the universe, I'm sure. Who's going to make the movie? There's two people here. There's two entities here. So who's actually going to make the movie? I guess that would make the most sense. But yeah, I don't know. I think Derek Mears should come back. I really do. Well, me, I'll do it. I'm only 5'9", but you know what? Go back to the origins. Just saying. Doesn't have to be a hulking fucking brute. Michael Berryman. Man, you met some cinematic greats chilling. Yeah, I got to chill out with Rhodes, man. I had him do the line. And I want to know what the fuck you're doing with my time. I had him scream that in the microphone. And it was wonderful. Cops came in. Who else was there? There was a bunch of people from pretty much everything. You know, some George Romero from Friday the 13th. I don't think there was any Nightmare on Elm Street there. I can't recall. But the chick from May was there. Anyone else into the movie May? The chick who makes a friend out of parts is kind of like a modern day girl version of a Frankenstein movie. Really good stuff. I really wish my daughter would watch it. I think she would identify with it quite a bit. You know? But Watched Halloween 3 last night. It's cool, but damn, that song to hell. I know, but tell me that's not a wonderful story. And I know everybody says, but Cochran is like one of the greatest villains. I mean, he's, you know? And he loves a good joke. He loves a good win. And when he sees that Dr. Chalice, or whatever the fuck his name is, he congratulates him with a smile and then dies gracefully at the likes of Stonehenge. Stonehenge, where the demons dwell, where they live and they do it well. Stonehenge, where the pipes of Pan and whatever the rest of the song said. I don't give a fuck. I could talk about this shit all day long, but unfortunately, our time has come to an end. Perfect timing, too. Let me know in the comments, or even better, do your own tier. Do your own tier. If I remember, what I'll do is I'll try to put. You can go onto the tier list thing and just type it in like I did. Find it your fucking self. Maybe fix it. Because there's a few Jasons that are not on there, conveniently enough. But great story, bro. And the masks, awesome. Yeah. Thank you, dude. I really appreciate it. But that was such a great day. That was great. My wife was pissed. I spent so much money there. I spent so much. It was like $20 for a signature, you know? And I just kept going to different people. But because of... All right, I'll leave you with this one story. I knew I was going to meet Sid Haig and Bill Moseley. And I was really riding the House of 1,000 Corpses fucking train. I'm telling you, I watching it now is kind of, you know, but at the time I was really into it, you know, and I got to meet them, and I actually almost got to go have supper with them and all kinds of stuff. And there was this expression I had heard, and I can't remember if it was from a movie or if it was a book I read or something, but someone had said, you could suck a fart right from my ass. And I thought to myself the whole time, I want Sid Haig to sign that. And I knew it would be something that he would say. And then I got to Bill Moseley, and I wanted him to write The Boogeyman's Real, and You Found Him. And I guess because I was so nervous about asking Sid Haig to write You Can Suck a Fart from My Ass, and I did it to the picture that he did this to from the movie. And then when I got over to Bill Moseley, I mean, they were kind of like together and everything. I wanted him to write The Boogeyman's Real and You Found Him, because not too many people highlight that. It's always Run Rabbit Run, or, you know, whatever. The next words out of your mouth better be some brilliant Mark Twain shit, because they're getting chiseled on your tombstone. That kind of thing, right? I just wanted them to write The Boogeyman's Real and You Found Him. But because I was so nervous about the Sid Haig thing, I saw Bill first. They were, you know, left to right here. I was like, he says, how about just Run Rabbit Run, bro? I'm like, yes, sir, thank you. And then I handed it to him. I said, can you write You Can Stick a Fart from My Asshole? And they both just looked at me like, you crazy fucking douchebag. And that's when we started talking about the forums. Like, we were actually talking on the forums the other day, and the girls are like, hey, look, we're all going to Applebee's or whatever it was afterwards. It might have been at Hooters. I don't know. One of those bar grill places. What a fucking great day. What a great fucking day. Probably one of my last really good days. I got divorced shortly thereafter. But, guys, wherever in the fucking world you are, I hope you're doing well. I hope you had fun with this Jason Voorhees extravaganza. Am I against this guy becoming Voorhees? No, I'm not against it per se. Do I think Jason needs to be a gigantic fucking... No. Will I still go see him tearing up people? Absolutely, and I'll probably love every minute of it. Guys, thank you always so much for watching. Speaking of Reggie from Phantasm, got to play with him. He's suffering right now from dementia. Guys, the last update we got didn't look good. And people had to seek it out. They reached out to his wife, and he's like, yeah, he's not doing really well. And there's a picture floating around that just is ugly. So, I don't know. Has he passed away yet? I know, I obviously I know the tall man, Scrim, has gone, but, man. I was reading about it a couple of days. I apologize, but all I know is I'm trying to use a current topic to sell you on this, all right? Fuck. Donate. God damn, guys.